Hey sis, welcome back to Black and Less West. It's your girl Snobby, and today we are going to talk about, or we're going to revisit, giving ourselves some grace. So let me just tell you, I did not abandon you guys this Saturday. I actually taped Saturday's podcast six actual times, like six actual times. The first it took 3 times for me to even like the content, right? And then when I went to upload it, I don't know, something happened with the audio and the audio was stripped. And I couldn't figure out how to recoup it. So I just said, you know what? Tape it again. So I taped it again. Had another audio issue. And again, and another audio issue. And again. So I think I have figured out what the audio issue is. And that's going to require me replacing some things. But the long story short is I was already having a really, really rough day. And it just went from bad to worse. Like, it just went from bad to worse. And it didn't stop. It just kept getting worse, kept getting worse. And then eventually it just was like the universe is saying something. And what it might be saying is that the message you are trying to share is not for today, it's not for now. And so I took my L. I want to say that I took the L with grace, but I didn't. There were several glasses of wine involved. I was big, big mad. And then Saturday just spiraled out of control. Like it kept getting worse. It kept getting worse. Um, it was a rough weekend, okay, to say the least. And I have not been very kind to myself. So, just in general, I feel like I've been procrastinating. I mean, I'm a procrastinator by nature, Sagittarius. But I feel like it's been way more than normal. And it's not even really just procrastination, but so much like I just, it feels like I can't get started. Like that, like something's holding me back and I don't know what it is. And rather than, being pandemic snobby, which is, oh, give yourself some grace, be nice to yourself, give yourself some time, and blah, blah, blah. I'm back to regular snobby, and I'm just like, yo, what the fuck is your problem? And fucking stupid. Like, why are you doing this? Why are you holding yourself up? You have this schedule that you set for yourself, and you're not fucking sticking to it. Like, this is your fucking problem. Not talking to myself very kind. So basically, not taking my own advice. And all transparency, that is on brand for me as far as not talking to myself kind. I have very, very high expectations of myself. I expect a lot from me, and so I don't tolerate a lot from me. Um, my happy go lucky personality is reserved for everyone else. I am extremely alpha personality with myself and very like these are the goals, this is how we get there, these are the markers and we need to be ticking these things off, and when we're not, um why, and if I'm the reason for it, then there's hell to pay. And you know it was easy. It's always easy for me to tell people to be kind to themselves, right? It's very easy for me to tell people to show themselves some grace because I understand that people do need to speak to themselves kindly. I understand that your words really do manifest. And anyone who knows me personally knows that nearly anything I say happens. While we're talking about it, I'm going to hit the Powerball. But like if I say it, it ends up happening. So I do know how powerful words are, and I do know the tongue is mightier than the sword. But I I know my ability, and I know that in general, I operate well below my bandwidth. I operate way below my bandwidth, mostly because it's if it's not if it's not for me, for my family, for my close friends, if it's not for the plight of my people, fuck you. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm not doing the most. I'm not doing the most. It's quiet for that shit. Um, And because I know that my subpar is excellent in many many spaces, I tend to fall into these really bad behavior patterns, and then it starts to translate over into, when I'm working on my stuff, and when I'm working in other capacities, and when I'm trying to get other things done, things that really matter. And then I get very frustrated with myself, and I get very angry with myself, and I do not talk to myself kind. And I don't know who needs to hear this right now, but I do know that I am not the only alpha personality that I know. I know I'm not the only inherent overachiever that I know. I know I'm not the only person that, like, excellence above all person that I know. So be kind to yourself first and foremost. That is a message to me. I am working on that. I have refocused my day so that I am doing my devotionals in the morning again. When I was consistent with working on my devotionals in the morning, I found that it helped me really just get aligned with my goals for the day, and really just kind of, it was something that I can go back to when I felt like my day was veering off course, and that was helpful. It's like guardrails for me. Um, I use it like daily focal points. That's how I use my devotional, as a daily focal point. Um, when distractions happen, I try to figure out a way that I can tie in what my daily devotional was to what is happening in my space, and try to go from there. Now, if you're somebody who, devotionals is not your thing, you figure out what your thing is, your thing that gets you focused and helps you refocus, because that's the key. It's got to be the thing that helps you refocus after you lose focus. Some people are really, really into meditation. I can tell you right now, I am not a good meditator. I'm one of those people, if I start meditating, I'm going to sleep. I mean, somebody wake me up when this shit is over, because, like, my eyes are closed, I'm not thinking about anything, and it's soothing sounds. Sleep. That's sleep for me, okay? For me, that's sleep. So meditation does not work for me, but it might work for you. For some people, it's, maybe if music is your thing, kind of like pick a song a day. That's going to be your song for the day. Just figure out something that you can use to reroute you back to the plan, when you start to veer off course. So today's devotional was about keeping your eye on the Most High. And essentially, what it was saying was that, you know, as you set your plan for your goal, like goal A, this is the plan, this is how I'm going to get to goal A. Make sure that the center of that plan is the Most High. Keep yourself focused on that. On if it's Allah for you, or if it's God for you, whoever your Most High is. If you are just someone who is spiritual and doesn't believe in any deities, say the universe. Say whatever it is that is your truth and your constitution. Then that's what it is. But for generalities, we're just going to say the Most High, and let the Most High keep you focused. As you because as you start to progress and move up a step, it's very easy to get off focus, right? You kind of get hyped, like, damn, knock that out. Damn, knock that out. And you might start to get ahead of yourself. I'm very guilty of that. I was always one of those kids. The closer I got to my destination, the faster I started walking. Shit, sometimes I would just be in an all out sprint. Like, the closer I got to where I was going. And I've known that about myself for a very long time, but I've never translated it into how I behave as, in my in the adult version of me. Because I'm still somebody, the closer I get to my destination, I start, like, the cadence of my walking does pick up. I notice it all the time. And I try to reel myself back sometimes, when I'm racing. But it's acceptable behavior in racing. Sorry, last 100, we need to be going all out. Leave that shit on the course. But when you're working your plan, it's very easy for you to do that same thing. So it's like I've got goal A, and I know that I've got these 10 steps that I have to take to get to goal A. You hit step one, you knock it out maybe earlier than you thought it was going to take. Great. Now you really like you're feeling good about yourself and you're gung ho for step two. You get to step two and maybe you finish it right on time, right? And it's like great. Still, still on task and I'm still on my time frame. I'm still doing good. Step three, step four, get by. And then it's kind of like, you start to feel yourself a little bit because it's like, I set out to do this. I'm really getting this shit done. I'm really feeling good about myself. I'm really feeling away. And you really start to like kind of feel yourself and smell your shit, as my mom would say. And then you can veer off course when you get like that, because you're not focused on the goal anymore. You're focused on yourself. You're like, I did this. I knocked this shit out. And the focus becomes ego, because ego is self. And the focus is no longer on the Most High, which should be the core of your plan, the core of your goal. And so the devotion was just saying, remember to keep your eyes upward, to keep your eyes on the Most High, because when you start to veer off, that's going to basically be your North Star to get you back to the path, to get you back refocused. It's your guardrail to keep you from veering too far off to where you can't get back on the path. And I just thought it was perfect timing. And I used more than one source for my devotional. And both of them had the same fucking message. Both of them had the same message, obviously not verbatim because they're two very different styles of books, but the fact that both books had the same messaging today, I felt like was not an accident. It was absolutely what I needed to hear. And I know I'm positive I am not the only person that needs to hear it. So I need to be a little more kind with myself, and I need to refocus my goals. I need to refocus my plans for achieving my goals and kind of take whatever success I've had out of it and just stay focused on the goal and on the plan. And the only way to really do that is to kind of give myself some grace and to give myself some mercy. And I can tell you why it was very easy for me to slide back into really not talking kind to myself. And not even because of the things that like veered me off. Yeah, everything I talked about are reasons that I veered off. As you start to knock things down and you start to hit certain milestones, yeah, you start to feel yourself a little bit. I'm a human being, absolutely. I was like, okay, heard you, sis. Do a thing then. And, getting caught up in that train of thought took me off of my game plan to just stay fast and stay steady, right? But why it became so easy for me to really start talking to myself negatively again, or not, I don't consider it negative the way I talk to myself. I think I just talk to myself harshly because like I said, I expect a lot of myself. But I think it was very easy to slide back into that just because for me, I have accepted that we live in the now normal. I was the only reason why I was able to be as gracious with myself this year as I have been is because it was like, okay, well, these are different times. Life is very different. We've all got to adjust. This is the new normal. Like, no one really knows what to expect. No one knows how things are going to play out. Yes, the world is cyclical. This is not the first pandemic that has happened. It's not even the first pandemic we've all lived through, but it's the first pandemic that has had the effect that it's had in my lifetime. And so, for me, it became easier to be more gracious because I was essentially on a learning curve. We all were. And so it was just like, okay, well, give yourself an opportunity to understand the way the world is going to start to work, the way things are going to happen, the way you're going to need to start navigating. And then you can get back to doing what needs to be done. And I think because I am in a space where I don't consider things changing, I consider, like, I don't consider this the new normal anymore. I consider this the now normal, which I always say. This is the now normal. And because I've accepted this as what it is, it's back to, well, you need to be knocking this out and knocking that out and getting this done and getting that done. When in reality, in 2020, bruh, if you made it through the day, congratulations. Like, you did a thing. You did a fucking thing if you made it through the day. And, I got to remind myself of that. I have to figure out a yin and yang, a black and white cookie, a balance of, keeping myself accountable, keeping myself on task, and being kind to myself. And that is not my area of expertise. So that's a constant workflow for me. That is always something I'm working on, whether I am like, if I just say, fuck it, I'm not doing shit else today, but sitting on this couch and decompressing, or I'm going to go running, whatever it is, it's an ongoing process. There's no one method that I can lean into. That's always the go-to method. Life continues to prove that to me. Running is my first line of defense. And even this weekend, I wasn't able to run, and I started running and I was feeling completely fine, but I just was checked out. I was totally checked out. And I was like, you know what? I was like, I don't know, about 2 miles in to what should have been a half marathon, which is about 13.1, which I still have on my to-do list before my birthday. And I just checked out, and I said, you know what? I'm not in it. Like, I'm not mentally here. And I stopped running. That was it. Running was canceled for the fucking day. That was that on that. So, there's no one approach to it. It's an ongoing thing. I just have to always remember, find some grace. Be kind, kind of step back. Don't be so harsh to yourself. And to keep the Most High as my focus. So what I wrote in my devotional journal today was, for those of you who are runners, you know what the rabbit is. But for those of you who are not runners, like the rabbit is like the two people you see in the front of races that set the pace. They're like sometimes it's three depending on the race. But you see those people who are in the front of the race who are not actually in the race. They set the tone for the race. They set the pace. And the Most High has got to be my rabbit. Like, I have to let the Most High set the pace. I can't try to run faster than what the goal is. I can't, don't slow down unnecessarily either, right? I have to let the Most High set the pace. And I've got to accept that sometimes that pace is going to be an all-out sprint. And then sometimes that pace is going to be a real steady, moderate marathon pace for me. So, I'm just trying to take those things, work with them, incorporate them daily. And I don't know who else needed that today, but I hope that, my digital diary entry is helpful for you. And honestly, I hope it's helpful for me. It's something that now that it is documented and out there in the world, it's another way for me to keep myself accountable to being nicer, being kinder, and monitoring what I speak to myself and speak over myself. So, that being said, again, I'm sorry about Saturday not having a podcast drop. Apologies. Also, if you don't have a shirt yet, get one. I've got the crew necks, get into those. Black Girl SOS shirts. We've got them in black. We got them in white. I have some of the Queendom Rising shirts left also. And I have 2 extra large Queendom sweaters left. If they're too big, like, roll it up, cut it up, make it fashion, zhuzh it up. It doesn't have to be worn regular. It can be worn however you want to wear it. The merch is available on www.brandsnobby. The link is in the bio. Yo, real quick. I don't know if y'all noticed, right? I got a little background for y'all today, little zhuzh. So I was recording in my regular space, and I was like, damn, I need to get a background. Like, this Y'all know how Tote gets on my nerves. So I'm like, this goddamn wall is agitating my nerves. And I was like, oh, you know what? You got all this other shit and all these other spaces in your house. Just go record somewhere else. So I moved over to my library space. And especially because I love the way my flowers have bloomed over here. Get into it. It looks good. I think it looks phenomenal. Anyway, so I hope y'all enjoy having like a little Jewish background this time. Maybe when I'm gonna get a background from my space and I'm gonna really zhuzh this shit up. Not like right now, but I'm gonna work on that. I'm gonna work on that to give y'all some ambiance. Um, Also, I think that I am. All right, you know what? I'm gonna give YouTube another try. Me and YouTube have been having a lot of beef. I'm gonna try again to upload to YouTube. YouTube gives me a lot of problems. So I am going to also stick to the IGTV format because I feel like at least here I know y'all will get it. It'll be here for you. And of course it'll also be available on Spotify, Google, Anchor, and Apple. So feel free to listen to it on your favorite platform. And until next time, y'all have a good one.